Our next guest is an Emmy-nominated actor you know from films such as Little Miss Sunshine, Wildlife, and There Will Be Blood. He stars as the Riddler in The Batman, which is in theaters and IMAX now. Let's take a look.
Police! Hands up! He said put your goddamn hands up, you son of a bitch.
I just ordered a slice of pumpkin pie.
Please welcome back to the show, Paul Dano, everybody. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm well. Your producer just told me that she had a nightmare about me over the weekend.
Look at that.
That was
making
nice.
an impact
Good
in
way
people's.
to-
And by the way, with the news right now, if you can be the reason someone has a nightmare, congratulations.
Thank you.
You were here last time talking about a film you directed, which was a very beautiful film, a film about a family, and a completely different pace than what you did here in The Batman.
Yeah, so luckily that's sort of been like the theme of just how I work. I was in the edit room doing a sort of quiet family film, and then I got a script for this thing called Escape at Dannemora, which was like prison, sex, physical, and I was like, great, that's what I need now, right?
Yep.
And so then I was on camera for 7 months in a jail cell with Benicio del Toro. And after 7 months of being on camera, I was like, I can't act again. This play called True West came, which I did on Broadway, and that sort of reinvigorated, whatever I needed. And then after doing a play, which was not for profit, The Batman came, and I was like, and so it's just sort of follow the energy, and I play, an interesting character in The Batman. And the next film I have coming out in the fall is Steven Spielberg's new film, and I play like a beautiful, kind man, and I'm just so thankful after doing The Riddler that was then the next thing that came my way. So we'll see.
You talk. This is a deeply dark character, and even by the standards of The Riddler, this is a very dark take. Your wife Zoe is obviously in show business as well. She must understand what you have to do as an actor. With that said, is it easy for you to leave a job like that at home when you come home?
I mean, I'm so scared to talk about it in public because, like, the internet, people pick up on what you say, and it can kind of get blown out of proportion. But I don't know if you had the experience doing SNL, like, where you've got all this energy going towards Saturday night.
Yeah.
And the stakes are high, and it's adrenaline, and it's, and then after the show, you can't just, like, go to bed, right? I mean, in your case, you guys get to go rock out. Now, I didn't rock out after a long day of shooting, but it takes a while to come down.
Yes.
Right? So that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good way of putting it. Now, at least you would, I would imagine, leave your wardrobe at work, because this was a terrifying take on the Riddler, which included wrapping your head in saran wrap.
Yeah, so I've been asked, what did you take from the set to remember this job by? And I'm like, nothing, nothing.
Well, saran wrap you could take because it's just helpful in the kitchen.
Well, they actually don't want me talking about saran wrap set.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think I have to say cling wrap.
Wrap.
They don't want to be associated.
Well, the problem is I have a deal with saran wrap.
Oh, you
personally.
do? Well, this is a real conflict.
It's a very awkward moment.
They might drop you. They might drop you after this one.
I'm sorry, I keep saying it. This is very bad. Oh boy, oh boy. But it was one of the things I read is that this version of the Riddler is a serial killer, and that the Zodiac killer was actually one of the. Is this something you came up with the director?
Yes, that's something that Matt Reeves, who's just wonderful, and I loved working with him, cited in the beginning. So when you get the phone call, the Riddler, Batman, it's like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And then when he says Zodiac killer, you go, oh God. You go, okay. It's like, okay, that's like a much more sort of real,
right. That's not question marks on a green suit.
For the comic book. So it actually was the kind of thing where, especially now that I'm a parent, like, A lot of my research for this I did during the daytime at coffee shops because I just didn't want those books like next to my bed. Do you
sure.
know? So it was.
You also don't want them next to bed because your kid's like, what are these serial killer books for? And you say, research.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Daddy has a job to do.
Yeah. Oh God, someday I'll be faced.
It's just
with that.
hard because it's so political breaking into it as a job. You gotta know somebody.
But you also are a reader of comics, so it must be cool to. I mean, I grew up reading comic books and still do, and I just imagine being a part of something like this, which is being taken so seriously and treated like art, must be a blast.
It's the best bit of homework, and my character has a particular fascination with the Batman and the film, and so I just devoured Batman comics the whole time we were shooting. It was just a way to sort of keep it in my system. But yeah, going back to being a kid, I used to collect some comics. I was more of an X-Men kid.
Okay, that's how we appreciate your honesty.
Now I'm like Batman super fan. I mean, and really I am. I love it.
I heard you name drop A Court of Owls in an interview, which is a great book.
Yeah, that is one of my favorites.
That's when I knew you were the real deal. I was like, look at you.
Yeah. That one's really good. It's just, I mean, I have to say that being a part of that culture, it's not something I anticipated liking. I feel like I'm kind of a shy person, but I love the Batman fans, and I've loved sharing this film with them, so including the comic book world, so that's been really fun.
I want to ask, obviously you've got Robert Pattinson walking around in the suit. Colin Farrell, much has been made of his transformation as the Penguin. Was it ever jarring when you saw your co-stars on set?
Well, I was jealous of Colin because the makeup was so incredible, and I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because
you had to wear cling wrap.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think we're back in business.
And the clip that we showed was one of my favorite nights of filming, just because seeing the Batman out the window, I just knew this is like a moment. Like, and for me it was too. For the character, it was being on our back lot, which they built, this L train, an elevated train with the streets of Gotham, seeing Rob, seeing Colin, seeing Zoe Kravitz. I mean, it was really, it's definitely like one of the coolest experiences I've had.
Well, I will say personally, being a fan of yours, when you hear a cast like this and a director like this, it's very exciting as a viewer to say, oh, these are the kind of people that are going to take good care of this. And you guys really did. Congratulations. And thanks so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Paul Dano, everybody. The Batman is in theaters and IMAX now.